Hey, what's up guys? Brian from Zombie Guitar here. I just want to make a quick lesson today about live looping or looping on the fly. And what I mean by that is you want to simultaneously be playing your guitar and controlling the looper pedal with your feet in order to make a performance that appears like it's seamless. So you're playing the whole time, but you're also either hitting play, stop, overdub, or something like that with your feet. So whoever's listening won't really be able to tell what's going on. But it'll sound seamless. So there's some thought and planning that's involved in all this, and that's what this lesson is about. So before getting started, I'd just like to say check out my website, zombieguitar.com. It is now the year 2020, and the site has been around since about 2016. I'm constantly adding new stuff to it, and I just did a major redesign to the site. So there's still a full access membership, and there's still a free membership, but then I have individual bundles of lessons depending on what your specific goal is, whether you're a beginner, whether you are a beginner to soloing and you want to learn how to solo in major and minor keys all up and down the fretboard, or whether you're interested in chord tone targeting, which is kind of like the next level beyond just soloing with scales. So there's all kinds of stuff on there. I'm constantly adding new stuff. I just bought this acoustic guitar yesterday, actually, this Taylor, and I will be doing some acoustic courses and stuff like that. So lots of great stuff to come for the year 2020 and years to come. So check it out, zombieguitar.com. All right, so the most important part about this is setting the initial loop right. All right, so what I mean by that is the very first loop that you lay down, that has to be timed perfectly because that's going to set up the timing for everything else that comes afterwards. So some of these loopers, they have a quantize function, and that means that you kind of preset the tempo to whatever you want it to be, and then whatever you do with regarding your looping, the quantize will fix it and make sure that it's right on the tempo that you set. So that can come in handy sometimes, but other times it can be it can really mess things up, right? Because sometimes you may not want it to fix what you're doing. So the case that I'm for the demo that I did in the beginning, I did not want the quantize function on. Rather, I wanted my looper to function so the second that I hit the record pedal was the second that it started to record, and then the second that I hit that pedal again, which would then become the play pedal, was the second that the loop stopped. So there's no delay. So there's no fixing of anything. It's all up to when I hit that pedal. So the thing I was playing was like this. So when I get to this note here, that's the one. That's when I want to hit the button to record. And then after I run around the progression, that's when I want to hit the button to start playing. So playing around the whole thing 4 times, it would be like this. So I kind of messed up playing there a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that as soon as I was about to start over, if I was to play the progression twice, which I'm not because the looper is going to be taking over after I go around once, as soon as I would have started over, that's when I hit the play button. So as long as that is timed right, then everything else is going to be okay. So let's hear how that sounds. So even though I made a mistake in my playing, the timing was perfect. All right, so that's the most important thing. If you get that timing right, then everything else that comes ahead should be okay. So you want to make sure that you plan everything in advance. Everything that you do in the entire performance, when you're going to press the buttons, when you're going to press play, when you're going to press record, when you're going to press the overdub pedal, and then what you're going to be doing on the guitar in relation to when you're pressing the pedals. So everything is pre-planned. Once you have your plan, then it's a matter of just putting in the practice, getting your timing down with everything, and then getting the most seamless sounding performance that you can. So I already have my loop laid down, and we heard that the timing was correct. So that's the most important thing, as I said. So then the next step of this performance that I did was, coming in with the lead. Now I know that I had a few seconds between the time when the initial loop was finished recording to the time when the lead came in. So I have this much time. So there was like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So anytime within that 2 second or 3 second window of time, I could hit the overdub button. And then I want to make sure that my playing is on time with the loop, but the timing of actually hitting overdub, just as long as I hit it within that 3 second window, then it's fine. All right, so that's planned out. I know in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have some time here to do that part. So the way this overdub works on probably every looper pedal is going to be the same way. So you have your initial loop laid down. The initial loop is that long, however long that is, but that's 4 rounds around of the progression. So once you do an overdub, as long as overdub is still on, then once the loop gets to the end point of the loop and then it starts back over again, the overdub will then start looping. All right, so the way that I did that lead is I had the lead, and then I had the harmony. All right, but I just needed to hit the overdub once because the initial lead, the first part of the harmony, took the length of the loop, and then I left overdub on, and then I just switched while I was playing on the guitar. All right, so let me just kind of show you how that works. I'm only going to hit overdub once. Okay, so I had my, my first lead part, and then the second lead part, that was all designated to just one overdub. And then as soon as I got that right, I played the first guitar part correctly, the second guitar part correctly. I then set that overdub into stone, and that was all done with the play button. As you saw, you could see which buttons I was hitting in the demo in the beginning. So once that dub was set, then I was set to record the next overdub. As soon as I start recording the next overdub, which in this case was once I started recording that means I can't undo the previous overdub. All right, so I try and keep my overdubs as independent as possible. So right now we have this. So right there, that's the ending. So as soon as I hit that, that's the ending of what I'm playing for the lead part. But then I still have another few seconds. I still have a second or two before I switch to the next part that I was doing, which was this. So again, that second or two allowed me to stop and set that initial overdub into place, set that into stone, and then also start the next recording of the next overdub. So I already have this overdub stored. So that's already stored. As soon as I start recording the next one, I can't go back and delete those harmonies anymore. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So now it just recorded that extra overdub that I just did. So that's all in there now. So if I want to delete that last thing I just did, so I was able to delete that last one, but not the harmonies. If I want to bring it back, I can then hold in the pedal for 2 seconds again. See how this works? So this all comes with planning. Okay, so when I'm planning my performance, I even take into account, okay, like what if I mess up this overdub? What would I have to do? So every single part of the performance has to be planned out. Ideally, you don't want to make any mistakes. You want to practice it to perfection. But, you know, if I happen to make a mistake, what's the worst case scenario? I just keep strumming some chords, and with my feet, I'm kind of undoing stuff and then setting up the loops for the next stuff. So, you know, I'm sure loopers, you know, professional loopers, I'm sure they make mistakes, but they have planned mistakes, all right? So they're like, okay, once I start recording this next loop, worst case scenario, I have to let the thing run, or let the progression run around a couple more times or something to get things right. So hopefully that's making sense. So planning, planning, planning. So the last thing I want to talk about in this video, and this is the main reason why I like to have at least 2 pedals on my looper, I want to have the option to either, after the loop is set down, after I'm done recording my loop and designated that initial loop, I want to have the option to either start playing it immediately or not start playing it immediately, but still have that loop stored, which I can then recall at any point. So why would I want to do this? Let's say that I am a solo acoustic act, and, you know, I'm playing songs that have a structure, and the solo part takes place over a certain part of the song. So let's say the song structure is verse, chorus, solo. But the solo takes place over the verse rhythm. So the solo is coming immediately after the chorus, but the solo is occurring, or the solo is, you know, taking place over the verse rhythm. So the way that I might do my planning is I might, okay, play the verse live, play the chorus live, play the second verse live while recording it, and then once the chorus comes in, stop the recording, but don't start playing the verse. So play the next chorus live, and then once the solo comes in, then I kick on my looper, so I have that rhythm already ready and waiting for me. So let me just show you what I mean. Let's say that there's 2 parts. Let's say that one part is G, D, C, and let's say the other part is E minor, D, C. So let's say that I want to do the soloing over the E minor D C part, but it comes right after the G D C part. So let me just show you what I mean. So I'm going to do this. Whatever. So, see what I did? I played the verse, but I was recording the verse as I was doing that. And then I stopped the recording the second I started hitting the chorus, or the G major part. And then when the solo came in, I already had my loop stored. The audience didn't know that I was storing this loop. That was part of my pre-planning. But then I was able to recall that when I wanted to start soloing. So maybe that's possible with the single pedal version. But you know, you'd have to be doing double taps and stuff like that, and there'd be a lot more room for error. So having 2 pedals, in my opinion, if you're going to be doing solo acoustic acts, I really, really recommend having the double pedal version at least. And obviously, if you want to get crazy with it, you can get the big boy looper that has all the pedals. So one day I might get one of those, but you know, just for you know, jamming and making YouTube videos and stuff like that, the double pedal version is more than I need, all right, or more than enough for me and my needs. So that's all I wanted to say with this video. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you know, you guys learned some things about looping. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.